In the words of Jean-Raphael Saperstein, the worst. Kevin Dunn, the worst employee in the history of WWE, has announced that he is retiring from WWE.
And it was immediate.
Yeah, he basically sent out the email on New Year's Eve, and on New Year's Day they announced that he retired.
Subscribe.
It's an absolute damn shame. I can't believe that damn dude had been there for so long. That dude did such a damn bad job as executive of production for WWE for 40 years. The man had no damn clue how the wrestling business worked. The man had no damn clue how to look up for people with talent. The man had no damn clue other than to continue to shove his beaver fucking head up Vince McMahon's ass, rub people the wrong way, and build fucking dams. And for me, this is a great day because A, I never have to see that bucktooth beaver fuck at all. I don't have to see him online. I don't have to see him on TV. I don't have to see him in documentaries. I never have to see this motherfucker again. Number two, I don't have to ever experience the shaky camera when something is happening. Unless it's in Sacramento and that crowd is that crowd, there's no reason for that camera to be shaking the way it does. And number three, and I cannot express how important number three is to me. We will never, ever, ever get the shot of a crowd to ruin somebody's either debut or long-awaited return. And you know what? As far as it comes with his retirement, it's about damn time.
You know, when Vince announced his retirement, that ended up not really being a retirement.
Pal.
I said that it would be 6 months or less before Kevin Dunn would be gone. The thing I didn't realize at the time that Vince the whole time was, angling a way to get back into the company. And I think that that's why Triple H and Stephanie and Nick Khan kept Bucky Beaver around. Once the deal with Endeavor officially went through, which was in September, how many months after that and after Ariel neutered Vince was Bucky Beaver gone? Less than 4 months.
Yeah.
So, and Jeff literally last week said Kevin Dunn's days in the company are numbered, and it was like a day or two later that it was officially announced. There weren't even rumblings going into last weekend. Good times. Good times. And you know what? There were certain things production-wise that he came up with that were innovative, that were good. He figured out camera angles to be able to tell whatever story for whatever special attraction they had. But the damn shaky camera. It was the shaky camera with the zoom in and zoom out. Zoom in, zoom out. While you're going up and down, left and right. I'm surprised they did not have shaky cam sponsored by Dramamine.
The only time
they sponsor everything else. Everything else gets sponsored. The Pitch Black match. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch Stairs match. They couldn't have the Dramamine shaky cam sponsorship. I mean, can you imagine Michael Cole after they did that, where they had a image of him and Corey Graves on the desk, and make sure that after we do this, you take your Dramamine. I mean, they have the Mountain Dew there. They had the episodes where they would have Kentucky Fried Chicken. Why not have them take Dramamine? Make sure they don't get motion sick watching the damn show.
Oh, they got
cutting away in the middle of a move. Or cutting away to the crowd when, we got AJ Styles making his debut to the company. Oh, we've got Edge returning after it was believed that he was done forever.
Oh, look, a fan.
Because it was more important to see the fan than the fans with Edge. Dakota, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you checking out the podcast. Make sure you give a like, a subscribe, and any comments or questions you may have, put it in the chat, and we will do our best to answer.
Cousin Jay, I need that now in my life. I need for them to be calling a match at some random pay-per-view at either No Mercy or Bad Blood or whatever of the other secondary.
Great Balls of Fire.
And I need the bottles of Dramamine in front, or Mylanta, or Pepto-Bismol. And it's like, if you're dealing with an upset stomach after watching all that bullshit, drink Pepto. And there's Michael Cole drinking Pepto-Bismol.
Well,
And they just, at this point, though, if they're going to keep up with this sponsorship, they really have to make sure they never do one with Trojan. Because that's just not going to be a good look. Them sitting there on Monday Night Raw and there's just like condoms everywhere. And then they do the dastardly thing where Baron Corbin is a heel, puts a freaking condom over Roman Reigns' head. It'd be just as bad as the dog food that they poured on his head.
Whenever I think of condoms and anything, it makes me think of the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. And they filled the condoms with holy water to go against the vampires. I thought it was a nice touch. Very Quentin Tarantino feel and vibe. I think it was Richard Rodriguez who actually directed that movie, but Quentin Tarantino starred in it, and I'm like, that feels like Quentin Tarantino came up with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Back during the Attitude Era, I could see them having a water balloon fight with condoms.
I'm surprised they never did.
Yeah. I mean, they had pillow fights and all that stuff.
We saw what Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe did back in the Attitude Era. We don't need to wonder why they did or didn't do anything. They gave us such horrible, horrible, horrible things in the 90s.
Yeah.
But I will say this, since I'm on the topic of the 90s, and then we can finish off with Bucky Beaver and everything like that. I was going to mention this before the show, but then I got sidetracked by a damn beaver. Do you know what yesterday was?
Yesterday was January 4th.
Do you know what happened on January 4th in 1999?
I can't think of it.
I will give you a hint, and I'm probably going to give it away. January 4th was the turning point in the Monday Night Wars.
Mick Foley winning the championship. Oh, that'll put butts in the seats. Yes, it will, Tony Schiavone.
Now, I've known that for 25 years, that was the turning point when Mick Foley became WWE champion, and basically everything, all the negativity and all the bullshit in WCW was becoming more and more apparent that it was happening, and Vince Russo got there. I was yesterday days old when I found out, after WCW pulled that stunt, what the main event of the show that night was. Do you want to happen to take a guess what WCW counteracted Mick Foley winning the WWE Championship?
Was that Finger Poke of Doom night?
That was the same night Hulk Hogan won the WCW World Heavyweight Championship with the Finger Poke of Doom, the most dangerous move in the history of wrestling.
Scott Steiner's favorite move.
I will forever to this day, and I'm so glad that yesterday was the 25-year anniversary because it still haunts me to this day. I will never get the sight of Scott Steiner hopping up and down like a little bunny rabbit after Hulk Hogan won in such a horrible, pitiful way to become World Heavyweight Champion. and they had the audacity to call out WWE for making Mick Foley, who was known as Cactus Jack here once upon a time, was named WWE champion. Now, granted, I know that Foley held the title more than a couple times for like a total of 29 days. It doesn't matter how long he held it. Mick Foley winning was the absolute turning point, and then you're going to sit there and you're going to throw shade at WWE when you gave one of the most embarrassing moments in professional wrestling history just so you can stroke the ego of the most egotistical wrestler. And the only reason he's not the most egotistical person in wrestling is because you got that dastardly to let Hulk Hogan win the title the way he did after Kevin Nash took the title from the undefeated Goldberg. That was enough in its own right. Mick Foley winning is one thing, but the fact that WCW was booking the way they were heading into that was also a major factor in the turning point. But I had to mention the fact that yesterday was one of the greatest moments in wrestling history when effing Mark's Hall of Famer Mick Foley became WWE champion.
Yes. Mike Rainey chiming in. Did you guys see that the Bucktooth Beaver is finally leaving WWE? Yes. It is a great day. It's a day we've all been waiting for. I'm praying to God that shaky camera is not a part of whoever the new executive producer involved with their video production. Like, I hope the first thing they say is like, let's stop doing that. Let's stop cutting away while somebody's in the middle of a move. I know, like, hey, you're trying to hide the fact that sometimes they don't make contact. There are other angles you could get. So I am looking forward to this new era. As we were mentioning last week, it seemed like since Triple H had full reigns, we got less of like the crowd shots that were like superfluous, that were like, oh, let's just randomly get this shot of the crowd. It seemed like Triple H was more like, dude, we could get some, but stop. If we get the dude with the guy bulging out of his head, beautiful. If we get angry Miz girl, beautiful. But don't pan the crowd and like, oh, nothing's happening.
You know, those were monumental shots, and I'll give them that. They nailed the Miz girl, and they nailed the guy whose eyes were shot out of his head after the Undertaker lost. I don't need to see Joey in the fourth row going crazy as Edge returns from retirement after being out of wrestling for 9 years with a broken neck. I don't need to see Fred in the eighth row going nuts as AJ Styles debuts in WWE. I popped. I was at work and I popped. They knew I wasn't even working. They knew I was watching a pay-per-view because I popped so hard for AJ Styles' debut, and Bucky Beaver ruined it.
They had to re-edit the stuff for both Edge and for AJ. You know, I have not gone back and watched recently. I'm wondering if the re-edited version is what they have on the network now. So it covers up the fact that there was some damn problems in production.
Yeah, I'm sure that it is updated because we all know that they edited it so that Cassius Ohno did not get stuck between the bottom rope and the frickin' mat in his 7-second loss to Matt Riddle, bro. So it wouldn't surprise me if those were also edited.
Right.
Because I'm still to this day, he was stuck between the bottom rope and the mat.